Alright guys, so we just literally got one of the biggest information drops of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 in the last month, which is quite huge. We have the scans, V-Jump scans from Hype, and courtesy of Vinix, we have the translation. Thank you, man. You both guys are absolute goats. Let's go with this. First, let's look at the images. They're all in Japanese, of course, but then we're going to look at the text, which is what matters right now. In terms of the graphics, as you can see here, they look pretty good. The character designs are pretty nice, especially Super Saiyan 3. I like the aura. That's some quality over there, right? It's pretty cool. And we have, in total, there's actually 3 pages, so this is pretty interesting. So let's start off with the translation because it is quite a big one. Let's go here. So let's give a start. Unknown figures gradually being revealed. New characters living in new city. We'll introduce the characters living in West City in the era of Age 1000, a time far in the future from the final episode of Dragon Ball. First we have Brett, right? The Brett is a member of the Great Saiyan Squad, an organization that takes on the trouble that arise in the city. He's someone who is just a little bit your senior, right? Lilica and Brett are university students too, and besides them there are other distinctive people at your university. Tap is a boy with a distinctive pompadour, may not look it, but he's such a genius that he skipped grades to enter university. Apparently he's also pretty strong in a fight. So Tap, I guess, is this guy here. This guy is Tap. Apparently he's a genius. Okay, fair enough. Interesting. We continue. Then we have Rom, a student who attends the same university as you, the player character. In fact, she's also an extremely popular idol in the world of H1000. So, of course, this is this one here. She's part of the demon race, I would say, right? With those pointy ears. So she is a very popular student, and yeah, she attends. She's like almost like a idol, right, in the game. Then we have it's up to you system, awoken skill, or soul switch. Which one will you fight with? So you can only choose one of them, so you cannot transform into Super Saiyan and at the same time have a soul switch enabled, which makes sense, of course, because if you have both of them you are pretty much OP, so you can just keep spamming one or the other. So if you go with the awakening skill, you can just go Super Saiyan, right? And the soul, this one I guess is gonna be the soul exchange, which is especially for humans where they cannot transform. So instead of transforming, you will basically embody one of the OG legendary characters, which are going to be overpowered. They're going to have special skills, their iconic skills, and be able to dish out quite a lot of damage. So in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, you can create your very own fighter style. This time we'll explain the two systems at its core. So activate an awoken skill and transform into Super Saiyan 3. I presume you can go from 1 to 3, right? I guess so, right? It's a skill that changes your battle state. Amazingly, it seems you can transform from Super Saiyan into Super Saiyan 3 as well. So yeah, there we go. So you can actually transform in stages. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work, because if it's just 45 seconds, like, are you going to cycle through it? Or when you go from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 3, you gain extra time? Not sure on that, right? Or maybe just like you unlock Super Saiyan 3 as a special one. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, right? We have more here. Let's just go here. When you use the awoken skill, both melee and ki blast attack power increase. Makes sense, right? I mean, yeah, makes sense. You can gain buffs through a dedicated enhancement action called the awoken action. So I guess this action kind of gives you even more buffs to your character, which is pretty cool. Now, transform into a super warrior with soul switching by housing the souls of a super warrior within your body. You can switch into your favorite super warrior and fight. Next issue preview. So in the next preview, which this is interesting stuff, we'll dig in deeper into even more unknown elements. it's going to be called In-Depth Strategy Special. So the next guide is going to talk a lot about maybe like combat strategies, how you can harness your awakenings and other stuff to kind of like do damage. So it is pretty interesting that they're actually giving us quite a bit of information on this one, which I honestly appreciate very much. There's also more stuff here at the bottom, I believe. Let me just go here. Yeah, not here. There was something else. There was something else maybe here. Let's go here. Oh, there we go. Here, right? So transforming increases your stats and gives you an awakening action, right? Many people are confused about the action. So it says here, attack power, both melee and energy blast attack have increased. And at the same time, it says here, you can gain buffs with a special enhancement called Awakening Action. Now, it could be the same thing or not, right? Because this is a bit confusing. So, is the Awakening Action the actual fact of awakening, as in becoming Super Saiyan? Or is the Awakening Action a separate action after transforming, like a button press and then you gain more power? I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure, right? Obviously, right? That's interesting, right? But yeah, anyway, when you go Super Saiyan, you can auto soul switch, so you have to make a choice. So yeah, I'm pretty sure many people are gonna have different builds. So they're gonna have their Saiyan, they're gonna have their human, right? Because you know that's what you do in the game. So yeah, I'm pretty sure people are going to have different sort of characters to, you know, have more fun with that, right? Which makes sense. But yeah, Xenoverse H1000, we have here some nice also drawings. This is pretty cool, actually, pretty nice, right? The scans. Yeah, the models, ROM looking really good, to be honest. Very, very slender, very nice. I mean, honestly, some of the models here is that they're really good, good made, which is really appreciated, right? Honestly, I mean, Bandai Namco and obviously Dragon Ball stuff, they're really good at designing, which is really cool. So yeah. So basically this V-Jump is talking about new characters living in New West City and showcasing transformations for CACs. That's right, this is what this is basically is. So as you can see here, most likely you can unlock these soul switchings via the story mode, most likely. As you do missions, you can then unlock them, and then, you know, you can just embody them, right? Now, the big question is going to be the following, right? When you unlock these characters, the problem is that some of these characters are going to be obviously weaker than others. So I'm pretty sure like soul switching is going to be focused on some of the meta characters. Like, you know, Krillin will be avoided quite a lot because he's weaker, right, compared to Vegeta or Piccolo, for example, right? So the question is, maybe they're going to give you certain buffs which are going to benefit you maybe in certain missions. I don't know, right? Because, you know, Krillin could have some crowd control skills potentially, right? Solar flare or some sort of like abilities which are basically good for crowd control, whereas Vegeta is really good at single target damage. Maybe Piccolo is going to be good at reviving or healing your allies or something. I don't know, could be whatever, right? Who knows? Maybe it's a bit more support, so to speak. No idea. So, you know, Tien, again, he could be a bit more kung fu style, melee style focus, whatever, right? So it's gonna be interesting because, you know, these sort of strategies are going to make you think, okay, so do I want to go with a human or do I want to go with a Saiyan? Because you cannot have both at the same time. I wonder if you're a Saiyan, because here it doesn't say you are restricted, right? So when it says here at the top in the translation, it says it's up to you, right? So awoken skill or soul switch, which one will you fight with? So I guess even if you're a Saiyan, you can still choose the soul switch most likely, and it's going to be down to choice. But of course humans, for obviously they cannot go Super Saiyan because they're humans, right? So that means that their only option is going to be the soul switch, which makes sense. So yeah, quite interesting stuff, to be honest. People have tried the demo online in then physically, I think in some events in America, and there were different opinions on this one. Some people were happy, some people were disappointed actually. So not everyone was really happy with the actual game itself. There were lots of complaints about the fact that the game was a bit simplistic compared to the previous game, and it felt quite overly Dragon Ball the Kakarot, right? The combat itself felt a bit more geared towards Kakarot than actually Xenoverse 2, which got some people, you know, concerned, especially because Dragon Ball Z Kakarot doesn't have that much complexity in its actual gameplay, which is a big problem, right? But yeah. Here's a comparison here as well. So yeah, so we do see, I mean, we do see in this comparison, right? Like, it's quite obvious that it still has some of the Xenoverse 2 DNA. That's obvious, right? But at the same time, you can tell some from the gameplay. It's not, you don't have to be a genius. This feels a bit more like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, to be honest. Just a bit more than you know, anything you would imagine. I don't know. It just feels interesting, right? So yeah, we'll see how people think about this, because it's gonna be quite interesting. So yeah, so that's it for this one, guys. We are looking for more information. In the Gamescom in Germany, they may actually show potentially more gameplay for the Xenoverse 3 game. It could be a chance that we're going to see more stuff, which is obviously very welcomed. So yeah, time will tell, obviously. So stay tuned to the channel, guys. Of course, if there's more information on this and more news, I'm going to publish it and stuff. Quite excited, to be honest. Let's hope that the game is actually complete and the gameplay mechanics are not going to be boring after a while. I'm still hoping that, you know, what we've seen so far, there's much more depth to it, there's much more strategy to it, of course. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I recognize like people are not fully convinced with this game. There are lots of people online, like, even on my videos, where I've already said that they feel like this game is not an actual Xenoverse game. It feels like it's a mishmash between Kakarot and Xenoverse and maybe a bit of Sparking Zero. So it just doesn't feel like it's its own thing anymore. It feels like it's a combination of the best parts or some of the good parts of other games, and they were trying to basically make it into the new Xenoverse 3, which is what we got right now. But time will tell. Of course, this game is coming out in 2027. We don't have a date as of yet, so it could be coming at some point at the end of the year or middle year. We don't know. It could be spring, right? Depends on the developer's timeline, of course. But this game has been in development for, like, I believe over 5 to 7 years, so that's a very, very long time. So I'm pretty sure they want to make their money back and, you know, get the game out. And of course, the bad part is that this game is going to have a ton of DLCs, like, just for example, Sparking Zero with their newest DLC is like $35 or something, which is just crazy for a single DLC. That's the price of an almost brand new game, right? And you don't get that much of a content, right? So yeah, Bandai Namco is being very greedy with their DLCs, to be honest. So if you buy this game, expect to be spending anywhere from $100 to $300 in the span of 10 years as this game releases more and more and more DLCs, right? Yeah, guys, so that's it for today's video. As always, I shall see you later in the next one. Bye.